Two real taxi creepy stories. Story 1. The Midnight Ride. The city slept under a shroud of darkness as the clock struck midnight. The streets were deserted, save for the occasional flickering street lamp casting eerie shadows. A lone taxi prowled the empty roads, its headlights cutting through the gloom like searching eyes. Inside the cab sat a weary passenger named Emily. She had hailed the taxi after a late shift at work, hoping for a quick ride home. But as the taxi ventured deeper into the labyrinthine streets, Emily felt a sense of unease creeping over her. The driver was silent, his face hidden in the shadows. His hands gripped the steering wheel tightly, and Emily couldn't shake the feeling that they were not heading towards her destination. She tried to dismiss her apprehension, attributing it to exhaustion and the late hour. As minutes stretched into an eternity, Emily's heart quickened its pace. The streets seemed unfamiliar, morphing into a maze of dimly lit alleys and forgotten corners. She fumbled for her phone, but the battery had died, leaving her entirely at the mercy of the taxi's direction. "Excuse me," Emily finally spoke, her voice trembling slightly. "I think you might have taken a wrong turn. My home isn't this way." The driver didn't respond, his silence a suffocating presence in the confined space. Emily's breath hitched as the taxi rolled through deserted streets, seemingly going deeper into an unknown part of the city. Panic began to claw at her chest when she noticed something peculiar. The cityscape outside the window appeared frozen, as if time itself had halted. No distant honks, no faint whispers of life, just an eerie stillness that sent chills down her spine. "Where are you taking me?" Emily's voice wavered, a tremor of fear lacing her words. The driver finally spoke, his voice a gravelly whisper that seemed to echo from the abyss. "To where you belong." Emily's blood turned to ice. She pounded on the partition, demanding the driver to stop, to let her out, but the taxi hurtled forward, ignoring her pleas. Her mind raced with horrifying possibilities. Was this the end of her journey? Would she vanish into the night, never to be seen again? Suddenly, the taxi screeched to a halt in front of an ancient, decrepit building shrouded in darkness. The driver turned around slowly, his face a mask of shadows and malevolence. With a chilling smile, he uttered, "This is your stop, Emily." Before she could react, the taxi door flung open, and an otherworldly darkness enveloped her, swallowing her whole. The next morning, the abandoned taxi was found by the police, its interior empty. Emily was never seen again, her disappearance shrouded in mystery, just like the eerie taxi that prowled the streets at midnight, a vehicle that traversed between the realms, carrying unsuspecting passengers to a destination unknown, lost in the shadows of the city's darkest secrets. Story 2. The Haunted Fair. In the heart of the city, where the neon lights cast a surreal glow on the bustling streets, there was a taxi that stood out among the rest. Its faded yellow paint peeled away in patches, and its headlights flickered ominously, as if struggling against an unseen force. Some whispered that it was cursed, that those who dared to ride in it would meet an unfortunate fate. One foggy evening, Alex, a young traveler, found himself in need of a ride after a late-night concert. He waved down the taxi, unaware of its sinister reputation. The driver, an enigmatic figure with piercing eyes, greeted him with a stoic nod before the vehicle lurched forward into the misty night. As the taxi traversed the dimly lit streets, Alex noticed strange occurrences. Shadows danced at the corners of his vision, and whispers echoed from the backseat, chilling him to the bone. He dismissed them at first, attributing them to exhaustion and the eerie ambience of the night. However, as minutes turned into an unsettling journey, the driver remained silent, his eyes fixed on the road ahead, as if he were avoiding something in the rearview mirror. "Is everything all right?" Alex asked, his voice quivering slightly. No response. Unease gnawed at Alex's gut as the taxi veered off the familiar route. Buildings seemed to melt into a twisted landscape, and the streets became unfamiliar, twisting and distorting like a nightmare brought to life. "I think you've taken the wrong turn," Alex said, his heart pounding his chest. Still, the driver remained silent, his hands gripping the wheel with an unnatural intensity. Desperate to escape this surreal nightmare, Alex pleaded, "Please, let me out. I'll walk from here." The taxi continued its surreal journey, ignoring Alex's desperate pleas. Panic surged within him, and he attempted to unlock the door, but it refused to budge, trapping him inside the haunted vehicle. Suddenly, the taxi screeched to a halt in front of an abandoned mansion swallowed by overgrown vines and darkness. The driver turned to Alex, his eyes gleaming with an otherworldly light. "This is where you belong," the driver whispered, his voice echoing with an unnatural resonance. Terrified, Alex pushed against the door with all his might, and it finally gave way. He stumbled out into the eerie silence, his breaths coming in ragged gasps. As he glanced back, the taxi had vanished into thin air, leaving behind only the haunted memory of that spine-chilling ride. From that night on, Alex became a cautionary tale, warning others to beware the haunted fare that prowled the city's streets, preying on unsuspecting souls and ferrying them to a destination beyond the realms of the living, a fate too ghastly to comprehend. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more such scary stories.